All right, guys, we are back. First live stream in a while. I know I said we were going to live stream yesterday. Then we had the Russell Wilson stuff happen, so I can't blame you. I had to make a video on that. And a quick side note, in a Patreon Dynasty Flock League, I just made a Russell Wilson trade that I know y'all will hate. I know y'all will call me stupid. I'm sure some of y'all in the league are kind of scratching your head at it. I'll definitely break that down in a video later this week. It's going to take a lot. I don't want to just say it without an explanation. So yeah, anyway, what we're going to be doing here is we are going to be going through and we are going to have a Dynasty startup mock draft. And yeah, we are going to include the rookies here. Lately, we've just been doing rookie drafts, but I actually think it's a lot better for us to do overall startups with rookies included. That way you go, okay, so the 6th rookie went off the board around this veteran range, and it helps you a lot more in trades in your current leagues. So yeah, I think that we are going to try to stick it a little bit more so with just doing the startups rather than the rookie drafts. Of course, I'll do more rookie drafts. I just think that this is a little bit helpful. Oh my gosh, and also hashtag notification gang, because we started this live stream 1 minute ago and we have 30 people out here. Thank you. I mean, this is growing rapidly. Thank you all so much. I see that we started this live stream a minute ago and we already have 10 likes on the stream at the same time. Y'all are ridiculous. That's all I have to say. Let me run over to Patreon real quick and shoot y'all some links to get in this mock draft. I'll grab that link for Patreon for anybody wanting to hop in the mock draft as well. I'm sure that y'all know how it goes. And if you're watching this as a video later on and you were unable to join the mock, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button. That way you can be one of the people coming out here at the very beginning. That way you can be someone following along with the mock draft, asking me your questions in the general chat. And y'all know how it goes. Let me get the link for everybody out here. Oh my God, guys. Y'all showed up in full force. Thank y'all so much for all the support. Okay. Oh my gosh, guys. This is the most support we've ever gotten on this channel. I'll say for sure, definitely. I mean, this is how like the main channel used to be. Y'all can see that I'm red right now. I did not expect this many people out here. We've been live for 100 seconds and we've had 35 likes on the video. So thank y'all. I mean, that's all I have to say. Let me go over to Patreon real quick. Let me get y'all some of the links to join. I already got one out for JN. I already got one out for Trevor. Okay, so let's go through. Let's pull up the messages real quick. Okay, CB got you your link, my dude. And also, I will say, guys, we still have open flock teams. There aren't as many available as there were. A lot of people took some, but I believe we still have about 10 open teams. So once those are taken, then we'll go through and we'll get the real startups going. And what's going to be great about these flock startups, I'm going to try to do some auctions. I'm going to try to do some drafts, but I'm going to try to do them live at the same time. That way we have some real data points with people putting up $60, $90, $100 to get into these leagues, making real trades, and it should be a lot of fun. So yeah, I can't wait for people to take the rest of those orphan teams. I've already been dealing and making trades. That DK Metcalf trade I made was actually with someone who just hopped in a flock league. Okay, perfect. Let's go through. James sending you the link, my dude. Okay, anything. Aiden getting you the link. Okay, so I think maybe we're full. Let me double check before I say that. Different Nathan getting you this link right now. Okay, Will getting you the link. Okay, but I believe I definitely have given this link more than 11 times, so I'm sure that we should be filled shortly. Okay, yeah, I think that may be it. Let me know if y'all have any questions in the general chat. JN coming in says, Little Dono for the hard work you're putting in. Thank you so much, my dude. And I'm sorry that you didn't want to trade for Little Jordan Humphrey in one of those flock leagues. I thought you were a UT fan. Apparently not. But it just, the fake fans are really showing right now. That's all I'm going to say, my dude. Guys, quick side note, JN. Y'all know, resident UT homer, always taking Colin Johnson, Devin Duvernay, Sam Ellinger at the end of these drafts. He joined a flock league, taking one of those orphan teams. And, of course, I have a former UT wide receiver at the very back end of the roster where pretty much it's just a guy that I'm about to cut anyway. I tried to overcharge JN for him, seeing if he would actually pay the price, but no, he didn't want to. He didn't want to. He's down to overpay for the UT players in the mock drafts, but not when he has his real money attached to it. Gotta respect it. Okay, but anyway, we have one spot left, guys, so please DM me on Patreon right now. Okay, so Victor coming in says, my man, you filled. No, I did not see your DM on Patreon. I'll run over real quick, and I just sent you a DM on Discord. Hopefully you can take that last spot ASAP. Sent that over. Okay. Let me see if... Okay, Joey says, is there a way I can send you my team without spending money? Yeah, man, if you come out to the premieres, if you come out to everything, pretty much... I mean, I guess you can type it out. I'm very sorry, guys. I know some people have hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram and stuff, wanting me to break down their teams. And on Patreon, I spend pretty much probably a couple hours every single day literally just breaking down teams. And it takes up so much of my time to the point where I'm surprised I still have a girlfriend. I'm surprised that I haven't flunked out of UT by now. But I can't start doing it on Twitter and Instagram as well, or I would literally not sleep. I already wake up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m. with just working nonstop. The last thing I can do is start breaking down your teams on Twitter and stuff. I can keep on doing it on Patreon, and I can try to answer as many questions as I can during these live streams and during the video premieres for everybody who is subscribed and has notifications on. But yeah, guys, I can't be doing everything. Okay, let's slide this over. Okay, this is weird. Maybe... should I do this? Will that work? Sorry, guys. I know that... I don't know why that wasn't taking up the entire screen, but hopefully... I guess this means I don't have to scroll over now, so I guess this is a good thing. I'm going to be drafting out of the 106 in this draft. Let's begin the draft. Let's not waste any time. Okay, actually... Ooh, so I see what happened here. I guess I am going to have to be scrolling. It is what it is. Whatever. Okay, JN says, bro, I ain't paying 3 separate rounds for little Jordan Humphrey. Yeah, no, man, I got you. I got you. I was just testing you out. Okay, so let's go through. And let's see if we have any questions in the general chat. Okay, so Nash is saying we're loud. Hopefully I can quiet it down a little bit. Honestly, was just excited to start the live stream. Baka coming in says, smash that like button. Man, thank you so much for coming out to the premiere earlier today as well. Let's go through and see if we have anything else. Yeah, just everybody spamming, smash the like button. Y'all already smashed it. I don't even need to say it this video, where we already have 40 likes and we've been streaming for 5 minutes. That is ridiculous. That's what it was like on the main channel during the football season. Okay, so let's go through, and I'm sorry, guys. I usually send the link in the live chat at the same time at the very end to give away a couple of the last spots. But this one, I just couldn't do it. This one, I had to send it only in Patreon. Just because we had so many people DMing us on Patreon. Okay, real quick, I don't know why. It looks like the ADP is all out of sorts. So please, guys, make sure you're scrolling down, searching for players. Here, we're going to be taking Jonathan Taylor at the 106. Yes, this is ahead of Alvin Kamara. Yes, this is ahead of Dalvin Cook. And if you're following the main channel, yeah, I have Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook ranked ahead of Jonathan Taylor for 2021. But this is Dynasty. We're talking about the next 5, 6, 7 seasons. And obviously, Jonathan Taylor at 21 years old is definitely going to project to be a much safer and an asset that has more upside in the long term at the same time. But anyway, Dalvin and Kamara going off 107, 108. Can't blame those picks. But what I will say is if you're in a Dynasty startup and you're going to be going with Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara with your first pick, what you need to do is you need to go all in. You need to go all in on I am winning now. I am not building for the future. I am going to take this home in 2021. Because if you invest in a running back that's 26 years old, that's on a second contract, we know the window is going to be a little bit shortened. So if you go with the Dalvin Cook and then maybe take a CeeDee Lamb later in the draft, well, yeah, technically you can go, look at me. Look how balanced I am. In Dynasty, you don't want balance. You want to be all in one way or the other. You want to be all in on win later or all in on win now. At least that's my approach. I hate to be the team that is consistently trying to battle for that last playoff spot. I want to be the team that is getting killed every single week, and then maybe I have a ton of future draft picks and I'm going to earn the 101. Or I want to be the team that is just crushing every single week and I'm going to get a guaranteed bye in week 1 of the playoffs and then guarantee myself a spot at the very back end of the draft where I probably don't have my pick anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Okay, so let's go through, look at the general chat real quick. Okay, Broncos fan saying, rank my dynasty team. Man, I have no idea where your dynasty team is. Okay, Joe Johnson says, what are you looking to get for Daniel Jones? To be completely honest, I think Daniel Jones we have to hold in dynasty right now, especially in a Superflex league, really only in a Superflex league, just because he is on that rookie contract and he has that guaranteed job for 2021. And we saw in his rookie season that Daniel Jones actually possesses some rushing upside. So while I don't think he has the upside to be a great NFL passing quarterback by any means, I think he has at least the upside to be a decent fantasy asset, we can say. Okay, but anyway, let's go through, see if we have any other questions. Okay, Steve asking, is this Superflex? Sorry if I missed that part. Yes, this is a Superflex draft. If this was not a Superflex draft, you would have not had seen Patrick Mahomes go at the 101, Kyler Murray go at the 105, Deshaun Watson go at the 110, and Josh Allen go at the 112. And I know we have people that play in one quarterback leagues, and I know I need to be a little bit better about trying to produce content for them as well. And that's why with some of those rookie drafts, we've been doing one quarterback rookie drafts. But in a startup, if we're going to sit here and spend a ton of time going through with it, I think what I would prefer to do is I would prefer just to keep it Superflex, because really you can't look at a one quarterback startup and take anything of value from it going to a Superflex league, but you can look at a Superflex startup and take a ton of value going to a one quarterback league, because in a one quarterback league, pretty much just slide all the quarterbacks down the board. You're going to have your first guys going off in the 3rd round, and then once you get rid of that elite tier, after that, it's going to be pretty nasty. Actually, on the main fantasy football channel, we went through and did a redraft one quarterback league that I think could help you out if you just wanted to gauge quarterback value. I will say, I mean, once you go through the draft and look at how deep the quarterback position is for a one quarterback league, I mean, pretty much just wait as long as you can. Draft someone like Jalen Hurts with a ton of upside at the end. Okay, so we are going to be back up on the clock in 2 picks, and if you're new to a Flock mock draft, we're not going to be looking at wide receiver here. I mean, wide receiver is so deep. What we are going to be looking to do is get either a running back or a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is still on the board. That is definitely something that I want to point out, as well as Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow. Usually you don't see these quarterbacks last this long. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back that I just traded for in a league, and that was in the same deal with DK Metcalf. Can't take him in this range, though. I can't take him ahead of a Trevor Lawrence. Now, the thing is, I'll say generally age is so overvalued at the quarterback position in Dynasty, where Trevor Lawrence, yeah, I mean, usually he's going at the end of the 1st, beginning of the 2nd. I think maybe is a little bit overvalued there. I think that it's correct to have him behind Russell Wilson and behind Justin Herbert. Personally, that's how I would have them ranked. So Trevor Lawrence, where he's going in most startups, I'm not a fan of, but at the 207, especially when we attach him to Jonathan Taylor, I just love that start. I mean, I love going Lawrence after Herbert, after Wilson. And in a lot of leagues, if you have Trevor Lawrence, if you have that 101, what you can do is you can actually look to trade that rookie pick 101 for Russell Wilson and a second piece. And I think with quarterback age not necessarily mattering a ton in Dynasty, that's something that I would look to do 10 times out of 10. Okay, so right after we take Lawrence, we have CEH going off the board. That pick makes a ton of sense. I will say Dak is also a quarterback that if we did not have the significant injury for him last season where his future is a little bit uncertain, I think we would have definitely gone with Dak Prescott over Trevor Lawrence. It's just the injury scares me a little bit, where I think it's enough to bump him down just 1 or 2 spots. And the same thing goes for Joe Burrow. I know Joe Burrow, it seems like that injury was simple. I know it seems like it was just a torn ACL, but no, it was a big deal. It was something that I think we need to make sure that we are remembering, something that we need to make sure we are taking in account for this upcoming year. So yeah, I think Lawrence is going to be the safer option between the two, but I would still prefer Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson ahead of him. Okay, so Steve coming out says, oh mama, Najee Harris here. Honestly, not going to lie, I am going to consider Najee Harris if he makes it to our next pick at the 306. We've already had Akers. We've already had Dobbins go off the board. I love both of those picks. Especially Akers is a player that I have a ton of shares of, and I'm just getting more and more excited about him the more I think about it, because I know a lot of people want to go, oh yeah, he's going to get the volume, but the offense is just going to be a little bit above average. And I'm looking at Matthew Stafford in that upgrade over Jared Goff and going, I don't even care if we see the Los Angeles Rams skew a little bit more pass happy this upcoming season. I think the efficiency of the overall offense is going to be so much higher that it's going to drastically help Cam Akers. So yeah, I mean, Akers with the 11th pick overall is just a complete smash. I want to point out the fact as well that Akers is ridiculously young. I mean, he is younger than Najee Harris by like 18 months. And I know y'all are going to hear that and go, Mason, you're an idiot. That doesn't make sense, but it's true. Cam Akers came out at a ridiculously young age out of Florida State. That's one reason I really liked him in rookie drafts last year. Okay, but anyway, let's go through. Let's see if anything stands out. Okay, so at the 101, we see an interesting thing happen where Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins go at the 2-3 turn. And I'll say a couple things about this. One, the DeAndre Hopkins pick is definitely a reach. But the one time it's acceptable to reach for a player is going to be if you're picking at the very end. If this is a mock draft and you don't think you can go through and trade to get a pick later on, sometimes you're going to have to reach on guys. You're going to have to reach on a DeAndre Hopkins because just say if the Bears thinks that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the wide receiver 1 overall this upcoming year, I mean, he's not going to have a shot at Hopkins at the 4-5 turn. So if it was myself and say we were looking at Hopkins in the 3rd, I think we would definitely pass on him. I know we would 100% pass on him. But that's also to do with, A, I'm not that big of a fan on DeAndre Hopkins in Dynasty. And B, we would have had a shot with him only 12 picks later, where if you're picking at the very end, you're going to have to wait 25. So it's more hashtag go get your guys. You can't really wait. Okay, but anyway, we are back up on the clock. And the question here is, do we go with George Kittle or do we go with Najee Harris? It's very, very simple. I think what we end up doing here is I think we end up going with Najee Harris, especially with how we started this draft extremely young, and I do not think that we're going to have very appealing running backs coming back to us. So let's take Harris at the 306. Love that pick there. So I'm not going to lie. Usually whenever we go through and try to pick out what team it has my favorite start, what team is the best at the end of the draft, I really never say my own team. I mean, I think maybe we've only done that one mock draft so far this offseason. But point out a team, guys. Try to point out a team that has a better start than we do. Jonathan Taylor, Trevor Lawrence, Najee Harris, you can't. I mean, if I started that way in a real dynasty league, not just the mock draft, I would literally be going out. I'd be taking a loan. I would be going, okay, I already have this money in the future. I already won this league. Let's go and spend it. But obviously a mock draft. No money attached to this. And I will say, by far and away right now, I think the best value on the board once we have both Travis Etienne and Justin Fields off. Let me double check before I say this for sure. Let me check the quarterback position. Okay, nobody popping off there. Let me check running backs. And the ADP is a little bit just skewed here. I don't know why it's necessarily messed up. I mean, Sleeper does have some problems, not going to lie. Okay, so do not see... Yeah, I think George Kittle is by far and away the best value on the board. With Travis Kelce's age, I think that Kittle is going to clearly be my tight end 1 this upcoming year in Dynasty, and it's not even really going to be close. So yeah, the fact that you could get George Kittle at the end of the 3rd, beginning of the 4th is absolutely fantastic, and probably I shouldn't be saying this out loud just because maybe there was an outside shot that he was going to fall to me at the 407, but still, I think that we want to just try to give my best and honest opinion as we go through this. And Paul has a start here we definitely need to monitor. He decided to go Akers, Dobbins, Mixon. Love this start. I mean, Mixon at the very end of the 3rd is a running back that I'm actually interested in. I know a lot of people want to go, but Mason, the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line, have you not seen it? Do you not know that Joe Mixon's usage is not exactly what we predicted a year ago? And I'll say, okay, 1, the offensive line should probably be upgraded this offseason. We know the Cincinnati Bengals have a ton in the draft where they can go out there and they can try to make that investment. They're also going to have more cap space than a lot of other teams with both A.J. Green, John Ross getting off the books, and they have Joe Burrow on a rookie contract. So I think that this is a team that can upgrade their offensive line through free agency and a team that can easily go out there and address the position in the NFL draft to go along with it. And with Joe Mixon, his usage changed halfway through the year. We did not get to see it over a large sample because of the injury, but he started catching passes out of the backfield. We've always known that Joe Mixon has the talent. It's more so just will he get the opportunity. Okay, so now let me go through and okay, so Matt is telling us Jonathan Taylor overrated, Trevor Lawrence overrated, Najee Harris overrated. So clearly hating our start, but I don't care. I mean, I am loving this, and usually I try to be as fair as I can. Usually I try to point out things that I did wrong. Okay, but let's go. Mike says, can you mock draft with multiple firsts anywhere? I guess I can. The thing is, it wouldn't really help that much. I mean, if you were going to go out there and do that, I think the best way we could is just me sharing with y'all those real Dynasty startups that we are going to be doing on Patreon later this offseason. So yeah, don't think we'll do that in a mock draft, but I promise y'all, I'm going to be making videos. I'm going to be live streaming. Hopefully we can get some auctions going as well that I can be doing. Just make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. And more importantly, like I said, I mean, y'all killed this stream at the very beginning, just flooding it with likes and just flooding people in here. Turn on that notification. Hit that bell next to it. That way you can come out to the premieres of the videos. That way we can always chat in the live chat, whether or not I upload a video for the day or I go through a mock draft. Okay, so let's go through. And Garrett saying Paul has an amazing start, in my opinion. I loved the first three. Once you take Ekeler at the 402, I know what you're trying to do there. When you're taking that pick, you're trying to drive running backs up the board. He's trying to make sure that he's going to have wide receivers and quarterbacks falling to his next few. Like he wants this running back run going off of a David Montgomery and an Aaron Jones. And my argument for that would be, well, in a redraft league, that would make sense. In a dynasty format, I don't necessarily love that idea. I would have rather seen him possibly go with a quarterback like Rodgers, Tannehill, or just really anybody there. You could have also gone wide receiver with someone like Stephon Diggs, and there's still other intriguing options on the board. So I don't love the pick of Ekeler, but I definitely love the first three. But we are back up on the clock, and we so far have built a team that is very much leaning on the youth side and the future production, not necessarily what we want right now. Okay, so let's go through, see if we have any young quarterbacks that we could look to pick up. Maybe we look to go get a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance. I know that I kind of clowned on some Zach Wilson picks in the last mock draft or two, but the thing here is we're built so young that we definitely need young assets coming into this team to make sure that the roster construction makes sense. And here I know we're talking about young assets, so people are probably going to be screaming, go Devontae Smith, go Jamar Chase. But no, at the wide receiver position, actually the age curve is a little bit later on where I'm completely fine investing in a 24-year-old wide receiver like Chris Godwin. So here, I think it's either Godwin or Diggs. Diggs is definitely the better value, but because of our construction, I think we are going to end up going with Chris Godwin. Reports came out today that he can get franchise tagged in Tampa Bay this year. Honestly, I don't mind that. I think Godwin has a nice projection over the next 5, and that's kind of what we're looking at with this build. Okay, so Paul coming in says 1 second left, wanted Kittle or Jefferson. Yeah, no, I love the Mixon pick. I just, I guess seeing Jefferson at the 401, I think that probably the appropriate pick at the 402 should have been, I would say DK Metcalf, but like I just said, I am legitimately worried about Russell Wilson leaving that situation. Russell Wilson has just been historic in his YPA over his career. So I'll say I think I would actually have preferred to go with the CeeDee Lamb with that start, especially pairing him with an extremely young Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins. That would have made a ton of sense. Okay, so let me go through. Guys, what did y'all think I should have done at that last pick where I went with Chris Godwin at the 407? I didn't necessarily love the pick. I am 100% open to any criticism that y'all have. Like I said, I wanted to go a little bit younger. I think Stephon Diggs was the best wide receiver available on the board, but he was also 27 compared to Chris Godwin's 24 years old. And when we have Taylor, Lawrence, Najee Harris to start us off with our first three, I would rather build for the future rather than build for 2020. So let me know where y'all would have gone. Let me know what y'all think I should have done. Let me scroll through real quick and tell y'all best player available by position, in my opinion. Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Let's scroll through. And ADP is all out of whack, so I'm just going to have to be announcing this. Jalen Hurts, Tua, Zach Wilson. I believe Trey Lance. Yeah, Trey Lance is here at the same time. I think that's about it at quarterback. At running back, really Javonte Williams, and I don't love the Javonte Williams evaluation. I will say that right now. I'm going to have an in-depth video coming out this weekend about Javonte Williams that I know y'all are not going to like. And then at wide receiver, best available, you have Evans, A-Rob, and then, of course, everybody on the board after me at the same time. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Kenny Golladay, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin. Let's go through, and I believe there are some guys way down in ADP that I don't want to announce that I think we would rather just look up and snipe some people on. So yeah, I have a few ideas what we're going to be doing at this next pick at the 506. I'll say the Darren Waller value at the 410. If you would have asked me earlier this offseason what I thought of it, I would have said that that's a little bit too pricey for me. I would have rather gone somewhere else, but to be completely honest, I've had so many conversations on Patreon talking about Darren Waller, and y'all kind of changed my mind. This happens all the time where a lot of the times I'm willing to be moved. If y'all have an argument for a player that I am just completely overlooking, let me know. And I can definitely just change my opinion if I go, you know what? I was wrong. And I think where I was calling Darren Waller overrated when he was being drafted at the late third, beginning of the fourth, I think I was wrong with that. I think the value of him at the 410 is actually very nice. So kudos to Trevor, I believe. Trevor is the one who drafted him. Okay, so let's go through, check the general chat real quick, see what people said about my pick. But okay, we're back up at the clock at the 506, and I hate that Javonte Williams pick by Nathan. Nathan, please check out my video of Javonte Williams that's coming out this weekend, and let me know your thoughts on it. Okay, we are back up at the 506. This is going to be a little bit tough. I have two guys in mind. We are going to go with the player that I love that has historic age-adjusted production that, in my opinion, is it's the most ludicrous thing ever that he's being drafted in this range. We're going to go DJ Moore. I mean, DJ Moore should comfortably be in that same tier of a CeeDee Lamb, a Chris Godwin, a Stephon Diggs. I know DJ Moore didn't necessarily blow anyone away this past year, as a lot of people thought he was going to take that next leap. But let's look. Guys, he is 23 years old. I mean, what are y'all expecting? Let's go through. And in 2019, at 21 years old, DJ Moore was able to go out there with some of the worst quarterbacks in the entire NFL and put up 230 PPR points. So please, guys, look at that 87 reception season where he went for almost 1,200 yards. DJ Moore has an insane ceiling, especially if they're going to be able to get a quarterback there. We don't know that yet, which is why DJ Moore is valued a little bit lower. But I love that DJ Moore pick. Okay, so Amy coming in says a DJ Moore over Keenan Allen. Yes, 100% DJ Moore over Keenan Allen, and that's not even close. We pull up Keenan Allen here. Not only is he 28, so he doesn't make too much sense for this roster, but if you look at the past 4 years, while yes, he has been elite, we've seen that same type of production from DJ Moore so far in his career, and DJ Moore was 21 years old when he pulled it off. Okay, T. Higgins coming off of the 508 by JN. Love that pick, my dude. Love that pick. JN, honestly, I usually love to give him crap in these startup drafts, but I think that this is probably my favorite startup from him so far. I would have preferred to see CeeDee Lamb over DK Metcalf because of the Russell Wilson news, but I am completely willing to say that if you think Russell Wilson's not going to get moved and you're 100% about that, DK Metcalf is definitely more valuable than CeeDee Lamb. I'm just not that confident. Okay, so Amy says Moore is always open, but Teddy B only reads his first option. Yes, my thing is I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is going to start the majority of the games for the Carolina Panthers next season. And even if he does, this is dynasty. This isn't redraft. DJ Moore is 23 years old, and he's eventually going to escape from Teddy Bridgewater. JN coming out says T. Higgins, 22 years old. Yeah, T. Higgins, man, I love that value. And with Higgins, I'll also say that if the Cincinnati Bengals do not invest into the wide receiver position this offseason, I would not be surprised if T. Higgins was a top 5 wide receiver overall. And I know that sounds crazy. I'm not drafting him that aggressively because a piece of me is a little worried about the Cincinnati Bengals going with Jamar Chase in the first round. And yeah, that would definitely hurt the target share projection for T. Higgins, and we would be having to lower him down draft boards because of so. But as it stands, I mean, T. Higgins looks to dominate this upcoming year. Okay, Paul coming out, taking my man, Juju Smith-Schuster. You know, if Paul didn't take him in the 5th, I was going to be taking him in the 6th. But anyway, nice pick there, man. I know a lot of people are going to hate it. Hashtag TikTok boy, but still, I mean, Juju, very similar to DJ Moore. I just can't get over it, the elite age-adjusted production. Also, guys, I want to give y'all a massive, massive, massive thank you. Okay, Victor coming out says, judge me now. I'm so sorry. I missed that donation. Okay, I see it right now. Let's go through and let's check out Victor's team. Okay, Victor is Rook 27. Okay, so Swift in the 1st. Love the pick of Swift in the 1st. Herbert in the 2nd. Can say the same thing there. Okay, so it's just going to be completely honest. Y'all know that I'm kind of brutally honest when we go through and judge teams. I let you know exactly what I would have done from that point of view. Swift, love it in the 1st. Herbert, love it in the 2nd. Herbert may have been the best pick in the 2nd round entirely. Robinson in the 3rd, I'm a little bit neutral on that. I think that if we see the Jacksonville Jaguars decide to just roll in with James Robinson this next year and they don't go and invest into another committee running back like a Kenyon Drake with a ton of cap space they have, that pick of Robinson in the 3rd is going to be fantastic. Now, my problem with this roster is going to be Aaron Jones in the 4th. I think Aaron Jones in the 4th doesn't make a ton of sense. I think that is the range you're going to see Jones going in the majority of the startups. But the majority of the startups, you're going to have Aaron Jones be taken by a team that decided to go QB at the very beginning, or maybe QB wide receiver, where they're like, you know what, I need to take an upside shot on a running back that we've seen elite production from before, even if he is changing scenarios. So I don't like the Jones pick. I would have preferred to see a DK Metcalf, a CeeDee Lamb, even if Aaron Jones was the last running back in that tier. And then Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith in the 5th. I'll say here, I think a lot of people are going to be burned on the fact that the 2020 wide receiver class was literally historic. I think that it's really clouding our judgment on what we can expect from the 2021 class of wide receivers. So I would have preferred to see an Amari Cooper, a Brandon Ayuk, a Terry McLaurin over Devontae Smith, but I can't blame that. I think the only incorrect pick there was most likely Aaron Jones in the 4th. Zach Wilson in the 6th, I can get behind. I mean, the more mock drafts I look at, the more people just have Zach Wilson going at that number 2 overall pick, and I can't ignore that. All right, so now let's go. Hopefully Trey Lance is available. Trey Lance is available. Possibly going to be our pick here. Definitely not going running back. So it's going to be between Trey Lance and a wide receiver. Okay, Evans, Golladay represent such nice values here. Oh my God. The thing is, with our team construction, I can't do it. I can't take one of those wide receivers over Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to make so much sense for this roster. Let me go through and try to find him. Yeah, with Trey Lance, I'll just say that he's very similar to Jalen Hurts. And the reason why I was drafting Jalen Hurts all over the place last year is going, you know what? I don't know if he's going to be an NFL successful quarterback. We don't know really about any of these quarterback prospects if they are going to be a success at the NFL level. But what we can say is we can identify the quarterbacks that should get the opportunity and the quarterbacks that have the rushing upside to make immediate fantasy impacts. And Trey Lance fits that mold. Okay. Wanted Alex coming in with our next donation. Thank you, my man. You're saying Superflex, tight end premium, PPR, 12-man best ball, Kelsey sell price. Okay, right now, man, in that format, I actually really like the idea of selling Travis Kelce. I know a lot of people hate me for saying that. Hate me for saying the words sell and Travis Kelce in the same sentence. But if we are going to be objective about this and we are going to look at Kelce going in this mock draft where this isn't tight end premium. If this was a tight end premium league, what we would see is you would see Kelce bumped up near the end of the 1st, beginning of the 2nd, as well as Kittle. You would see Darren Waller bumped up about at the end of the 2nd round range. So I'll say if you could take a Travis Kelce and if you could sell him for, say, in a Superflex league, the 105 in a future 1st or the 106 in a future 1st, that's something that I'm going to be looking to do 10 times out of 10. Because if we go through and we go, okay, what rookies are going to be available at the rookie pick 105, the rookie pick 106? Okay, so we know that the guys going before that are going to be Trevor Lawrence, Najee Harris, Justin Fields. Okay, those I believe are going to be locks to go before the 106 pick. But then afterwards we go, okay, so who are you going to have available? You're going to have Travis Etienne, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance. There's going to be a tier of 5 players that are extremely appealing as long-term assets to build around. And if you can get a future 1st on top of that, even if you want to flip that future 1st for another asset, maybe like a Jerry Jeudy or a Mike Evans, just anything in that range. I think that's something that I would have loved. Okay, so JN coming in says Mark Andrews in the 6th is a steal. Yes, sir. I'm not going to lie. Okay, so I'll go. My favorite teams here. Actually, I can't say it's yours, JN, just because. Actually, no, we were looking at the Aaron Jones pick. No, I think JN has the best team here. And JN, I don't think I've ever said this about any of your mock drafts. Usually I would say, unfairly critical of your mock drafts just because I like pointing out things that are wrong with them. Kamara in the 1st, I don't know if I would have gone that route, but the value was there. He's going to go a lot earlier than that in the majority of the drafts. Antonio Gibson in the 2nd, I don't mind it. I would have preferred to see a Trevor Lawrence or a CEH, but I know you like waiting on quarterbacks. Then Travis Etienne in the 3rd, I think that may have been the best 3rd-round value. DK Metcalf in the 4th, T. Higgins in the 5th, Mark Andrews in the 6th. I mean, that is an extremely strong start. Okay, so I will point out something right now. The Bears stink coming through, and I don't know if they are just unaware that this is a dynasty draft rather than a redraft, or maybe they're just going all in on 2020, but they have loaded in with some very questionable long-term assets with Davante Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Chris Carson, Julio Jones, and Myles Gaskin. Going to be interested to see how that team turns out because right now, I mean, that team could be just completely decimated by the time we get to next season. All right, but anyway, guys, also let me know if y'all think I should have gone somewhere else other than Trey Lance in the 6th round. Let me know if y'all think we should have gone with a Mike Evans or with just any other player in that range. I think Trey Lance was the clear pick in my opinion. If he is going to get that top 10 NFL draft capital and he has that elite rushing upside, I think Trey Lance is a lock to make value at 607. Okay, now let's go through, and we are going to be looking at probably 2 positions here. Actually, no, I think at this point we can pivot over, and we can probably look at a TJ Hawkinson. I just want to double check with the wide receiver ADP because I know it's all over the place, that I'm not missing anybody that I would regret passing up on. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be hard to even do that while I'm streaming. So what I'm going to do here is we are just going to end up going with a TJ Hawkinson, and I'll point out the fact Kyle Pitts having an ADP over TJ Hawkinson is absurd. It is offensive. And I know Kyle Pitts is an elite prospect, but the hype is unreal. The hype has gotten out of control. He should not be going over TJ Hawkinson. Just seeing what Hawkinson was able to do in his 2nd season, I think Hawkinson is going to be a much safer projection. Yeah, Kyle Pitts in the 7th. I can't get behind it. Okay, JN taking Matthew Stafford in the 7th. Yeah, JN has the best team here. I hate to say it. I rarely ever say it, but man, you've killed it. Okay. So Andrew coming in says, rank my dynasty team. You're saying 12-team league, quarterback Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, running back Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Zeke, wide receiver A.J. Brown, Chris Godwin, tight end Mark Andrews, 12-team league. Okay, Andrew, I'm assuming that you're just wanting to flex on us all, say, hey guys, look at me. I've built probably the best dynasty team you're ever going to see. So obviously, we are going to have to rank that as an A+. I mean, there's nothing else I can say there. Okay, so Garrett saying, please draft Deontay Johnson. Deontay in the 8th. Guys, y'all know that I am just a little bit too biased with Deontay Johnson because he killed my Juju Smith-Schuster value this past year. Deontay was the clear wide receiver 1 in terms of the target pecking order. So yeah, I mean, it hurt to see it. It hurts to honestly say. So I'm always going to be a little bit biased against Deontay Johnson. Deontay ends up going at the very beginning of the 8th. I am assuming that's because his ADP was a little bit out of whack. I think Deontay Johnson looks like he's a fit in this range. I'll say one pick that kind of stands out for me is going to be Tyler Lockett at the 704. Really don't like the Tyler Lockett pick, especially with the Russell Wilson news. Yeah, but Stafford in the 7th was straight up robbery. I mean, JN has been killing this draft. Okay, but guys, also, thank you so much. We have pretty much 75% of everybody watching this video has dropped a like on the stream. And a lot of people watching the video probably aren't even signed into a YouTube account, a Gmail account. So that's like everybody who can leave a like has left a like. And that's ridiculous. Thank you all so much. Y'all motivate me so much to continue to try to make as many of these as I possibly can. All right, but anyway, let's go through. We are going to be looking at the wide receiver position when we are back up in the 8th round because at running back, I mean, first thought is there's not going to be anything in this range that I'm going to be interested in. Yeah, there really isn't any running back that I'm like, oh, yeah, they're interesting. No, I'm probably not going to be going and looking at the running back position for another 5-6 rounds. That's why we wanted to load up at the very beginning with a Jonathan Taylor and a Najee Harris. And because their long-term projection, I really don't feel the need to reach on any running back in this range. So we are going to be just fine. Okay, so Daniel Jones going off in the 8th as well. Love. The quarterback value in the 7th and 8th round was fantastic. It makes my pick of Trevor Lawrence in the 2nd kind of look silly when we were looking at the running backs that we could have gotten there in comparison. Okay, we probably should have pulled up wide receivers a little bit earlier just because we were kind of going to be scrambling right now to find someone as this ADP list is out of whack. Obviously, we've been streaming at the same time, so it's not necessarily as easy as just pulling up my Dynasty wide receiver rankings. Okay, so I think here what we are going to end up doing is we are going to end up going with... actually, I'll say we are going to end up going with Rondale Moore. One, just for the excitement factor. We know Rondale Moore is an elite level athlete, and if you look at what he was able to do as a freshman, I mean, literally historic at 18 years old. I know, let's see what Sleeper has as his size, 5'9", 180 pounds. I would be happy if he was actually 5'9", 180 pounds. I think maybe we have to be a little bit worried about him being smaller than that, but the NFL wide receiver is changing every single year where size doesn't matter as much because it doesn't really matter that much if you're winning at the catch point or not. So Rondale Moore at the 807 when we have an extremely young build is going to be fantastic. Let me know what y'all think of this team so far. We have Taylor and Najee Harris at running back. We have Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance at quarterback. We have Godwin, DJ Moore, Rondale Moore at wide receiver. And we have TJ Hawkinson at tight end. I love this team. I mean, if we're talking about teams that are a favorite to win this league in 2022, you better be worried out for the Fantasy Flock Network. I'll definitely tell you that. Okay, Garrett saying JN easily destroyed this draft. Yeah, I'll say JN. JN had a very nice draft. I'm not going to lie about that. Okay, so Baka coming in says, I'd rather get Akers and Swift over a first-round quarterback. Yeah, here I'll say Akers and Swift, I think, are going to be running backs that I want over every quarterback besides Mahomes and Kyler Murray. I think where they went in this draft was completely fair. Deshaun Watson, I don't love the value there at the 110 when we don't really know what team he's going to be playing for. There is an outside chance that he stays with the Houston Texans, and that would be the worst situation in the entire NFL. I mean, right now, the Houston Texans have the lowest projected win total by any Las Vegas book that you can find. So, yeah, that would be nasty, but still. And also, I'll say, at the 807, we would have considered some other veteran wide receivers like a Cooper Kupp, a Robert Woods, a Tyler Boyd, or an Odell Beckham Jr. at the same time. But the thing here is we're just building young. I mean, when you start JT, Najee Harris, Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, DJ Moore, TJ Hawkinson, you want to be playing for the future. Okay, so let me go through and see if we have any general chat questions. Andrew says, you're literally the only reason I have the team I have. Thank you for you, LOL. No, man, thank you so much for coming out, supporting, just hanging out in the live streams. I really want to give all of y'all a massive thank you. Okay, JN says, didn't want to be greedy and let Daniel Jones slip. Yeah, no, man, I think you waited the perfect amount of time on Daniel Jones. And with Jones, it's going to be very dependent on if he starts running the ball more in 2021. If he can get back to what he did in 2019 with the amount of rushes he was having per game, I think he can be a value in this range with his job security as well. But if he is going to look a little bit more like he did last season where he was not running the ball, I think at that point we go, there's really no upside. So it's just going to depend on what we see him transition into. Okay, so there are two players that I have on my mind. Actually, that's at the wide receiver position. There are two players that I'm looking at. Let's go to the quarterback, see if there's anything that we could be interested in. Okay, so there is a QB that I'm going to probably take if he falls to us. It's not going to be a sexy pick by any means. I'm kind of hinting at it right now, hoping that someone snipes me on him. But I think that the value is just absurd if you're talking about job security. And when you're drafting Trey Lance as well as your second quarterback, I think it would be nice if we could pair him with a vet, make sure that we have two starting quarterbacks all year. Because, yeah, this team is young, but I think this team could also be competitive right away if we have 2 quarterbacks going the entire year. Okay. So Xavier coming in says, I need more turf sniper Daniel Jones moments, LOL. Yeah, guys, Daniel Jones is kind of funny to watch, to be honest. I mean, there are so many just random mistakes that he's made, but at the same time, we know that he played against very bad competition in college, so making that transition to the NFL isn't going to be the easiest thing. We saw the same thing with Josh Allen whenever he had a significant bump up in competition. It's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, so Odell goes off with the 9th pick to Nathan. And love that Odell value. I will say that right now. I mean, I would have considered Odell. Probably would have taken Odell in the 8th, to be honest, because y'all know I'm a fanboy if it wasn't for our roster construction. Here, though, we are going to be taking Jared Goff in the 9th round. I know it's gross. I know it isn't sexy. I know the ceiling is limited. But he's going to be a starting quarterback. If we can plug him in as our quarterback too some weeks, I think that's going to be nice, especially if we could go through and we could show some people, hey, I mean, maybe you need a quarterback too. Are you wanting Jared Goff for a future first-round pick? I think that would be fine. Okay. Victor coming out says, I DM'd you my team on Discord, my man. Can you tell me where I went right and wrong? Yes, sir. And, of course, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm not going to pull your team up on... Actually, should I? No, I'm not going to pull your team up on stream just because I want everybody to be paying attention. But, okay, Michael Pittman, also the wide receiver that we were going to be considering at that 906 if Jared Goff did not fall to us. Okay, but right now, okay, let me see if we can get some context with this team, Victor. Okay, Victor, man, real quick, in the either on Discord or in the general chat, can you let me know how many teams this is? Can you let me know if this is a 12-team, 10-team, whatever it is? Okay, JN coming in says, how is Corey Davis available? Man, I'll say real quick, I just made a video talking about, for the main channel, wide receiver rankings. And Corey Davis, first off, I'll say, I don't think that he is a fantastic value here. And this is coming from someone who has Corey Davis in like 25% of his dynasty leagues. But I think Corey Davis, the best thing for him would be to go back to Tennessee this offseason. And if that happens, I think it's going to limit A.J. Brown's upside. But yeah, I mean, I like the Corey Davis value. I'm not going to say it is absurd by any means, just because we know that with Corey Davis, the ceiling is going to be a little bit capped if he decides to stay in Tennessee. And I'm a little bit worried also about Corey Davis if we have an overall change to the offense, because they have a new offensive coordinator in there for 2021. Okay. So, Victor, let me see if you're saying 12-team tight end premium. Okay. So, guys, Victor, real quick, let's go through this team that he had. Okay, so, actually, I will put this on the screen. Can I? Okay, yeah. So, this can be quick second, guys. Okay, so McCaffrey in the first, Dobbins in the second. Okay, so Sanders in the third, Robinson in the fourth, Tua in the fifth. We've already talked about this team a lot. Let me show it off here. Okay, so we just took Jared Goff in the 8th as well. Where was your... Oh, no, you traded your 6th-round pick. Okay, I forgot about that. Okay, so if we break down this team, pretty much all we have to do is look at... Victor went running back very heavy with his first 4 picks. CMC, Dobbins, Sanders, Robinson, and then he decided to go with the quarterback position afterwards, which I think is ideal, going with Tua and Jared Goff as 2 guys that you can pretty much guarantee that they're going to have starting jobs this upcoming year. Let me look at later on picks to see if there's anything that stands out. Miles Boykin, love the value. Darrell Williams, I don't like that pick just because we have Damian coming back in. Devin Duvernay, I like that. Darrell Henderson, fantastic. KJ Hamler, fantastic. Elijah, don't like it. Joshua Kelly, don't really like that either. Irv Smith, a fantastic pick, as well as Jordan Love. Don't want to hold that up there any longer away from the draft board. I'll say there were a few different picks there that I didn't like. I think we did mention those. I will pull this over. That way we can dive into it a little bit more. The picks that I don't like, let me say this. I don't like Darrell Williams. I don't like Frank Darby. I don't like Joshua Kelly. I mean, with Joshua Kelly, as a quick side note, literally the Los Angeles Chargers did everything that they could to avoid playing Joshua Kelly in 2020. They literally brought in Kalen Ballage, and while Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson were both injured, they sent Joshua Kelly to the bench. So yeah, Kelly is like dead at this point. You can't draft him in the 18th. And then Elijah Mitchell, I know that you wanted to get some rookies here, but I think that your draft in particular just went way too hard on rookies. Whereas if you look at this mock draft here, I mean, there was actually some great rookie value, in my opinion, where we were able to get Trevor Lawrence in the 2nd, Najee Harris in the 3rd, Trey Lance in the 6th, Rondale Moore in the 8th. I mean, that's the value I like to see. I don't like to see what we saw in your draft. Okay, so now let's go through and let's look across the board. And I'll say also a pick that we got sniped on is here with Marquise Brown and Laviska Shenault. I really wanted both of those wide receivers on the way back if they were going to fall to us. I thought there was a good chance that Marquise Brown did, but I want to remind everyone what we are looking for right now is young players, and we do not need a quarterback. We already have 3, so really we can't draft a quarterback. Okay, so let's look for, a big name just popped out to me. Okay, so yeah, let's do it here. Let's take a wide receiver that I whiffed on last season. Last offseason, I was drafting Henry Ruggs a ton at the beginning of the 2nd round in my Dynasty rookie drafts, and yeah, that did not end out well. I mean, I definitely lost value on it with where we stand currently, but still, Henry Ruggs right now in the 10th round, I like that value. And also, I want to point out the fact who took Will Fuller here in the 10th. Will absolutely smashed this Will Fuller pick. I mean, Will Fuller in the 10th round is fantastic. I think Fuller is actually a sneaky candidate to find himself in Green Bay. I mean, he would complement Davante Adams unbelievably nice in stretching the field where Davante Adams could work a little bit underneath. So yeah, I mean, I love that Will Fuller pick there in the 10th. I don't know if we would have taken him just because we are going a little bit younger on this team. So I think Henry Ruggs fits the mold a little bit better than Will Fuller. Okay, also, let's kind of review that pick that I made of TJ Hawkinson, because maybe that would be the one pick that I would end up regretting. So let's go through, and yeah, Dallas Goedert just got picked in the 10th. So an exercise that I love to do when we're talking about when you should be drafting a certain position is going, okay, if I would have passed in this position here and swapped rounds, what would the picks look like? Okay, so we say here in the 7th, if I would have decided to go with a different position, it would have been Matthew Stafford at the 706. So instead of having Hawkinson and Goff, would we have been fine with Stafford and Dallas Goedert? And honestly, now that I say that out loud, I think we would have definitely preferred both Stafford and Goddard rather than Hawkinson and Goff. Let me know if y'all have any questions on how I did that little exercise. That's a quick way to tell if you're drafting a certain position a little too early. Like a lot of these running backs, I think they're perfect examples of this. Like a pick that I absolutely hate from this draft is Chris Carson at the 501. So let's ask ourselves, okay, so say Chris Carson at the 501. Would you rather have Chris Carson here? Let me slide this over. I'm so sorry. I thought y'all could see this. Would you rather have Chris Carson at the 501 and a wide receiver later like Brandon Cooks in the 11th, or would you have preferred to go with a possible Allen Robinson at the 501? And then what running back could you have gone with instead of a Singletary, a Connor, a Chuba Hubbard, a Trey Sermon, a Darrell? I'm not going to go through all those running backs. I hope that made sense. But yeah, I mean, it's a quick thing. Just look at the different positions and go, did I do this correctly? And that's what I like to do a lot with my drafts. And clearly, taking TJ Hawkinson in the 7th was way too early. But anyway, we are going to be back up on the clock. How many wide receivers? We have 4 wide receivers. I'm fine taking a 5th wide receiver here if that's where the value represents itself, which it probably will, just because, I mean, at the running back position, it's kind of gross. I mean, after those 2 guys, not too interested in anybody. Curtis Samuel would have been someone that I would have loved to see fall to us here. I know a lot of people are going to be screaming at me to go Darnell Mooney. Personally, I can't. I do not like investing in wide receivers with that kind of build. Saw one name. KJ Hamler's kind of interesting, especially when we are not building for a team that's going to win right now. But still, I mean, even KJ Hamler's not someone that I'd get very excited about at this pick. Okay, so here I think maybe it's the right time to pivot over to the running back position. We can see if we can get Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. I know Preston Williams has the talent. Preston Williams is extremely interesting. But the thing is, with Preston Williams, I mean, the Miami Dolphins are going to significantly invest into the wide receiver position this upcoming draft. So here we're going to take St. Brown, hoping that he is not like his brother Equanimeous St. Brown, hoping that it's a little bit different. But let's kind of recap our team. Right now, Damien Harris, I really like that pick in the 11th. Okay, so right now we have built a roster that I am kind of used to. I'm kind of used to going running back early, then loading up with wide receivers later on and having a ton of wide receiver depth in those stud running backs. So here we have Taylor, Najee Harris as our 2 running backs. We have Lawrence, Lance, and Goff as our 3 quarterbacks. And then we have Godwin, DJ Moore, Rondale Moore, Henry Ruggs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown as our 5 wide receivers. So now obviously we are going to be forced to go look at the running back position after this, but there were a few running backs that I was looking at that I figured could make it back to us in the 12th round, and I knew that St. Brown would not have. Okay, but Tony going off in the 11th. Here, I kind of like taking shots on these wide receivers in this range just because we know, hey, if they find themselves having second-round NFL draft capital and they find themselves in a nice situation, they're going to be skyrocketing in dynasty value. Okay, so we got 3 rounds left. Let's go through, and I think what we probably want to do is we probably want to build out with 2 more running backs, 1 more tight end. We have a little bit of flexibility in not having to go with the second tight end, but we will see. We will see where the value lies. And also, guys, we are so close to 100 likes in the live stream. Thank you so much for everybody who's dropped a like. If you have not already, go down there and hit that like. And oh my gosh, okay, Terrace Marshall was still available. I'm going to be completely honest. I would have definitely gone with Marshall over St. Brown if I would have seen that. I am sorry for anybody who's going to be looking at this draft board later on and not have that type of context. But yeah, I would have definitely preferred Marshall over St. Brown. Just Sleeper has the ADP a little bit messed up. We're trying to live stream, talk, and read your questions at the same time. Okay, so let's go through and let's see if we have any other questions. Okay, so Nate is asking, what is the best time to do your startup? I think the best time to do a startup is before the NFL draft. And the reason why that's the best time is one of my favorite things to do in the startup is include the rookie picks, not the rookies. I think when you include the rookie picks, y'all do this on Sleeper as rookie pick placeholders with the kicker position. On the flock leagues, I have the capability of actually going in and manually entering rookie pick 101, rookie pick 102, and so on. That way you can actually just draft the pick there, add it to your roster. That way you have the startup draft, and then the NFL draft happens, and then you're able to go out there and you're able to have a rookie draft at the same time. So that allows for so much activity. Not only are you getting 2 drafts in, but at the same time, you're actually able to go out there and you are able to trade a little bit more, because we know that the most active time of your league is during those drafts where you can make trades during the season where it's kind of nothing going on. We don't have free agency. We don't have the NFL draft. It's a little bit quiet. It's a little bit dormant. So the more drafts, the better. Okay. So Graydon says, I'm taking Landry over Ruggs. I wouldn't kill you if you took Landry over Ruggs. The thing here is we just built an extremely young team. I would have never considered Landry with this build. Okay, so the Don coming out says, thoughts on Eric Ebron? I think Eric Ebron is a fantastic pickup at the very back half of your roster. I mean, he's a lot younger than a lot of people want to assume. I think he's 27 years old. Let me look this up real quick. I'm not going to draft him here or anything. Yeah, Eric Ebron, only 27 years old. He came in the 2014 NFL draft, and I know he's been to the Indianapolis Colts. I know he's then traveled to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we know that he wasted so much of his time in Detroit. So it seems like he's been around forever, but he's actually a lot younger than most people want to assume, and tight ends have the latest breakout age, and it's not close. So I don't mind investing into a player like Eric Ebron. Okay, so I think one running back I haven't seen go off the board is Zach Moss. Let's double check that. Yeah, so we're going to be going with Zach Moss as our running back 3. I didn't love Zach Moss in rookie drafts last year. As y'all know that I hated both Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. But I think that if we can talk about Zach Moss in the 12th round, that's nice value when he's still on that rookie contract. Okay, so let's go through, check the general chat again, and see if we have any comments, any questions. Okay, Aaron is asking us about Darnell Mooney. And right now, guys, with Darnell Mooney, the problem is the profile of the wide receiver. Let me pull him up right now and show you all this frame. Well, Darnell Mooney, as a speedster wide receiver that can take the top off, it looks like he's already gone. Maybe I'm misspelling this. Let me see if he is already gone. Okay, yeah, no, so he's already gone. We're going to have to pull this up real quick. Darnell Mooney's over here. Okay, I'm just showing you all the player cards so y'all can see how small he is. I mean, he's 5'11", 172 pounds. So, yes, he can make an impact for Chicago in stretching the field and making a ton of space underneath for the other wide receivers. But he is never going to profile to be someone that can command a significant target share. So, if he doesn't have that kind of upside, I really just don't have too much interest in drafting him. Okay. So let's go through and see if we have any other questions. Aftude is saying Odell Beckham Jr. is not going to be a Hall of Famer. Agree or disagree? Y'all know I love Odell. Literally the intro to the channel is Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch from the duck. But yeah, no, Odell's not going to be a Hall of Famer at this rate unless he can stay healthy for the next like 4 or 5 years and rack up some stats. Now, Odell Beckham Jr. has my favorite play of all time. And I'll say also, we get this question a lot, asking me, Mason, what's your favorite NFL team? Blah, blah, blah. And to be completely honest, I don't have a favorite NFL team. I mean, I root for players. I have guys that I want to see do well, including the players on my own dynasty team. So a lot of Corey Davis, a lot of Juju Smith-Schuster, a lot of DeAndre Swift, a lot of Cam Akers, Justin Herbert. Y'all know the players that I am significantly invested into. But outside of that, I don't root for a team. I like the Houston Texans back when I was like in middle school when they had Andre Johnson and Matt Schaub. But since then, I haven't cared. In 2014, that's when I kind of really dove in to Dynasty Fantasy Football, and I've just been obsessed with my own rosters. And as soon as that happened, as soon as I figured out about Dynasty, I don't care about NFL teams. So I know a lot of people want to go, Mason, you only like Odell because you're a Giants fan or blah, blah, blah. Literally, I couldn't care if the Giants went 0-16 next year. Okay. I mean, yeah, y'all can also tell by the jerseys behind me. I mean, we have 3 jerseys of 3 different players from 3 different teams. So it's not about, I don't care about teams. Okay, so now let's go through and Baca is saying, why not Hawk over Andrews? Andrews, I like him over TJ Hawkinson slightly under one condition. And that condition is, are we going to see the Baltimore Ravens invest into an Allen Robinson? Are we going to see the Baltimore Ravens significantly invest into a wide receiver who is able to actually go out there and command a significant amount of volume? Because if that's not the case, I don't want to end up seeing Mark Andrews drafted behind TJ Hawkinson, because Mark Andrews will just project to have a very high target share, so it's going to be hard to get away from that. JN coming in says, I root for the Longhorns. Yes, sir, I'm right there with you. And guys, let me explain my reasoning in rooting for players at the professional level and rooting for a team at the college level. And it's simply because all these players at the professional level, like a Curtis Samuel, a Dallas Goedert, a Mike Gesicki, I'll just say also a Jordan Love, the reason they're playing for their teams is because they were drafted to their teams. They didn't have the option. They weren't recruited. But at the college level, the players decided to go there. Nobody forced them to. So, yes, you could say, oh, Jordan Love probably loves the Green Bay Packers for paying him millions of dollars. But if you ask Jordan Love, hey, man, what team would you want to play for? What employer would you want to have? I bet you the Packers and living in Green Bay would not be his number one answer. That's for sure. So I think it's a little bit more fun to root for the guys that chose to go and actually play for their given teams. All right. So we are going to be back up on the clock in about 4 or 5 picks, and we are going to be looking at either running back or tight end. So let's go through the running back position, see if anything stands out. Ooh, okay, we have one player that I would like to draft in this. Actually, 2 guys I would like to draft in this range. I would be completely fine taking both of them. Also, I'll point out right now, I'm going to say his name out loud because I'm not going to draft him here. Darrington Evans is going to be an intriguing player if you can get him as a throw-in piece to a trade that you're working on that I would like to see. His rookie year was kind of ruined with just a multitude of things with injuries. I believe he had COVID at the same time. But the Tennessee Titans invested a third-round pick into him, and we know that Derrick Henry is 27 years old. So Darrington Evans is an intriguing player to have at the end of your roster. We're sniped on one of our guys, though, and that is going to be Chuba Hubbard. Really was hoping that he was going to make it back to us in the 13th round, but we still have one more guy that we could be looking at. Okay, guys. Also, if y'all have any guess on who I'm going to be wanting here, it doesn't matter. Mecole Hardman going off. Okay, there we go. That was a fantastic pick. I'm going to be completely honest. I should have gone Mecole Hardman in the 11th. I didn't even know Mecole Hardman was still available. But let's go through and let's get our guy. Someone I find myself drafting in draft over draft over draft over draft. Darrell Henderson. I mean, yes, I know that Cam Akers is the man. I have Cam Akers on almost every single Dynasty roster. And I was screaming at people to sell Darrell Henderson in their leagues halfway through last year, saying Cam Akers was the better running back, and I was getting laughed at. But at the end of the day, Darrell Henderson is still on that rookie contract. Darrell Henderson flashed when he got the opportunity. The Rams offense should be improved with Matthew Stafford coming in. So if we see an injury to Cam Akers, I think Darrell Henderson could bump up to be a running back one right away. Okay. So was that JN who took Devin Duvernay, or did he get sniped? Okay, no, JN took Devin Duvernay. I was just making sure that he didn't get sniped. I thought for a second Will took him. Okay, so Tick is saying you'd probably still be a Texans fan if they were consistently good. No? Honestly, no, I would not. I mean, I was a San Antonio Spurs fan for a long time too, and I kind of bailed while they were still making the NBA Finals, while yes, I guess you could say I officially cut off ties whenever they traded Kawhi, so maybe I'm just a bandwagon, but no. I mean, it really doesn't matter what sports team it is. If it's a professional sports team, I really don't care too much. I would rather just follow the players, make sure I know what's going on, and really how I get joy out of this is projecting stuff to happen and projecting players to succeed and just kind of looking at everything through a macro sense and not having too many connections to a certain team. Okay, so let's recap my roster real quick. Okay, so let's start it off with the QBs. We have Lawrence, Lance, and Jared Goff. At the running backs, we have Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Zach Moss, and Darrell Henderson. Okay, we just got sniped on Rashad Penny. I really wanted Penny. And then at wide receiver, we have Godwin, DJ Moore, Rondale Moore, Henry Ruggs, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And now I think, should we take a second tight end or should we not even bother? Okay, so Ethan's saying, Mason, would you rather have Ja'Marr Chase or Devontae Smith, assuming they'll land in good spots in the NFL draft? As of now, I would rather have Devontae Smith, and I know I stand on an island alone saying that because a lot of people are worried about the fact that all his production mainly came in his senior season, and I'm here saying pay attention to the details. Pay attention to the fact that his junior year, he outproduced both Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy. And we know that Devontae Smith then came out the next season and put up one of the best college seasons of all time for a wide receiver. So yeah, as of now, I would prefer having Devontae Smith, but if he does go to his pro day and he's undersized, I'll switch over to Ja'Marr Chase. Okay, so Tyron Swoops going in the 14th round to JN. So I'll say if I was going to make a mean pick here, I would probably end up going with my guy, Sam Ehlinger, but I think what we should probably do is we should probably take a real player that, in case anybody wants to see this draft board afterwards, thinking what are my thoughts, like what would we actually do, and Keyshawn Vaughn in the 14th is something that I would do. We're not going to take a backup tight end. So yeah, if this was, we should have gone Evan Ingram. I should have paid a little bit more attention to it. But Keyshawn Vaughn in the 14th, I like that value. Keyshawn Vaughn, a player I don't have in a single dynasty league. I mean, I think that he was by far and away, and I said this during rookie drafts last offseason, he was the most overvalued rookie, and it wasn't even close. If you just looked at historical hit rates from running backs that fit his mold, I mean, he was severely overdrafted in dynasty leagues. But he's on his rookie contract. Leonard Fournette is probably out of there. Ronald Jones is under the last year of his deal. So I think Keyshawn Vaughn now on the 14th, maybe a player that I actually kind of get with. Okay, JN coming out says Six Flags commercials were a vibe with Duncan and the Manu Spurs over the Spurs now. I will say yes, no, Duncan, Manu, and the Tony Parker Spurs, That was a fun team. That was actually something. My favorite commercials, though, the HEB Spurs commercials with Duncan, Manu, and Ginobili. Now, those were straight up fire, JN. Honestly, nothing competes to the old Spurs HEB commercials. And I know that nobody knows what I'm talking about right here, but it doesn't matter. All right. So all I got to say is thank you all so much for the support. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with me. We got so close to 100 likes this live stream, so thank you for that at the same time. And I guess we can, I'm going to scroll up, show you all the draft board, just in case y'all want to pause it, take a screenshot, whatever y'all want to do with it. Let me move my face off. Ooh, shoot. Let me move my face off of this real quick. That way y'all can see everything. Let's scroll this over. Okay, perfect. If y'all needed that, y'all can take a screenshot. Now, thank you. Really hope y'all enjoyed the live stream. Really hope y'all are able to get in here. And if y'all want in the next one, remember, what you need to do is smash that subscribe button. But more importantly, you need to hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you know when we go live. You can come out to video premieres. You can hang out with me in the live chat. More importantly, you can come out and join these mock drafts. You can get your questions answered and everything. But yeah, thank you. That's all I got. And I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow. And I'll say for the video tomorrow, it's going to be about Kyle Pitts. And y'all are going to hate it.